We are taught to be prepared, to be smart, to have a backup plan. It sounds so responsible, doesn't it? It sounds like wisdom. We create these elegant out escape routes. A savings account we call the dream fund, but secretly treat as the failure fund. A side hustle we nurture just enough to call it a passion, but not so much that it demands our everything. A relationship we keep on gentle, non-committal life support, just in case. We call this being prudent. We call it being safe, but I want you to consider another word for it, a quieter, more insidious word, division. When you have a plan B, you are not being cautious. You are dividing your soul. You are sending one part of your heart, your courage, your focus on a daring mission toward plan A, while the other part, the fearful part, is already building a comfortable, well-furnished shelter for your retreat. This division is a leak, a slow, constant siphon of your most vital energy. The mental space you use to imagine your failure scenario is space that is stolen from the architecture of your success. The emotional energy you spend maintaining that back door is energy that does not flow into kicking down the front door of your destiny. Your plan B is not a safety net. It is a permission slip you give yourself to fail. It is the quiet internal whisper that says, it's okay if this gets too hard. You have a way out, and that whisper is a toxin. It neutralizes the very desperation that births genius. It silences the primal roar that tells you you must find a way, because genius does not emerge from comfort. Resourcefulness is not born in the presence of a ready-made alternative. The profound, shocking strength you never knew you had. It only reveals itself when there is no other option, when the bridge is gone, when the boat is ash. The notion of a backup plan is so deeply ingrained in us as a virtue that we rarely stop to examine its true psychological cost. We frame it as wisdom, as foresight, the hallmark of a responsible mind, but this perspective overlooks a fundamental law of energy. Attention and intention are finite resources. When you actively maintain a plan B, you are not simply being cautious. You are executing a quiet, constant partition of your own spirit. You are attempting to live in two potential futures simultaneously, and in doing so, you create a perpetual state of internal conflict. One part of your consciousness, the brave, idealistic, ambitious part, is pitched forward, leaning into the vision of Plan A. It is building, creating, and risking. Meanwhile, another part, the pragmatic, fearful, self-protecting part, is already at work on a different site, constructing a smaller, safer, more modest shelter where it can retreat if the weather gets too rough. This is the division. You are both the general charging the hill and the soldier quietly fortifying the rear camp. The result is that you are never fully committed to either action. The energy required to maintain the retreat, the mental space it occupies, the emotional bandwidth it consumes, is energy that is directly siphoned away from the advance. It is a cognitive leak. Every moment spent contemplating the what if I fail scenario is a moment not spent solving the how I will succeed puzzle. This division manifests in 1,000 subtle ways. It's the hesitation in your voice when you talk about your startup because you know your old job is still an option. It's the extra 10% of effort you withhold from your new venture because you've conserved it for your fallback. It's the subconscious message you send to partners and collaborators, a message not of unwavering conviction, but of conditional participation. This internal schism creates a ceiling on your potential. You cannot fly while keeping one foot on the ground. The safety net, however comforting it appears, is also a weight. It tethers you to a version of yourself that is permitted to be less than to quit to settle. The ambitious, charging general is constantly looking over his shoulder, checking on the safety of the rear camp, and in that glance momentum is lost, opportunities are missed, and the fierce, undiluted focus required for a monumental victory becomes impossible. You are, in effect, fighting a war on two fronts, one against the external challenges of your goal, and one against the internal pull of your own security, and history shows us that no one can win a war on two fronts for long. The divided self is a compromised self, operating at a fraction of its total capacity, forever wondering why its greatest ambitions seem to remain perpetually out of reach. The most dangerous aspect of a Plan B is not the practical distraction it creates, but the profound psychological permission it grants. It functions as a pre-negotiated surrender treaty you sign with yourself long before the real battle has even begun. This treaty states, in subtle, unspoken terms, that it is acceptable to withdraw, to fold, to return to a known quantity when the struggle becomes too intense. This is the silent, insidious whisper that lives in the space between your thoughts, and it fundamentally alters the nature of your endeavor when the path of Plan A becomes steep and rocky, as it inevitably will. The presence of a Plan B provides an immediate pressure release valve. It offers a narrative of dignified retreat. It was a good try. The whisper says, a valiant effort. Now, let's be sensible and go back to what we know. This whisper is a toxin to the spirit of perseverance, because it neutralizes the very desperation that is often the catalyst for genius. Human beings possess a remarkable capacity for innovation and resilience, but this capacity is rarely tapped in conditions of comfort and security. It is the primal roar of "I must find a way" that unlocks reserves of strength and creativity we never knew we possessed. This is the state where there are no alternatives, no fallbacks, no elegant exits. Your back is against the wall, and the only way out is through. In this state, the mind stops cycling through escape options and focuses with laser, like intensity, on the problem directly in front of it. It begins to see resources where it once saw only obstacles. It makes connections it would have otherwise missed. It takes risks it would have previously deemed irrational. This is the alchemy of true commitment. It forges capability in the fire of necessity. A Plan B systematically prevents you from ever entering this transformative state. It ensures you never have to face the terrifying but fertile void of having no other option. By providing a soft landing, it encourages a soft effort. The climber who is roped securely from above will never summon the same flawless precision and nerve as the free soloist who knows that a single misstep is fatal. The safety mechanism, however logical, introduces a margin for error that the subconscious mind willingly accepts. The endeavor shifts from a must to a maybe. The goal is no longer a lie, for death imperative, but a trial run, an experiment. And while experimentation has its place, it does not carry the same catalytic power as an all or nothing commitment. The permission to fail, however sensible it seems on the surface, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It lowers the stakes, and in doing so, it lowers your performance, your creativity, and your ultimate potential. It keeps you safely in the realm of the possible, forever barring you from the miraculous. The idea that our greatest capabilities are born from comfort is a pleasant fiction, a story we tell ourselves to mitigate the inherent terror of the unknown. The truth is far more raw and far more magnificent. Genius, that flash of transcendent insight, that break through solution, is not the product of a well-rested mind operating within safe parameters. It is, more often than not, the offspring of necessity. It is what emerges when the well of conventional options has run dry, when the maps have been exhausted, and you are left standing in uncharted territory with only your own wits to guide you. This is not a gentle process. It is a forge, and the fuel for that forge is the absolute, non-negotiable understanding that there is no way back, only through. When a ready-made alternative exists, the mind, in its elegant efficiency, will always default to the path of least resistance. Why strain to scale a sheer cliff when a gentle, sloping path is visible just behind you? The presence of a Plan B is that gentle path. It allows the cognitive load of a problem to remain manageable, because a portion of your mental capacity is reserved for the retreat. You are never fully, wholly immersed in the problem, because a part of you is already planning your exit speech, your graceful resignation, your return to the familiar. This divided state is the antithesis of the focus required for true innovation. It is the difference between dabbling and dedicating your life. But when the boats are burned, a profound shift occurs. The cognitive resources previously allocated to managing your retreat, to soothing your fear, to polishing your "what I learned from my failure" story, are suddenly liberated. All that energy, that attention, that raw processing power is now funneled into a single, desperate, glorious question: how do I make this work? The mind, no longer distracted by the possibility of escape, enters a state of hyper-awareness. It begins to perceive patterns that were once invisible. It connects disparate ideas into a new synthesis. It finds leverage in places it would have previously overlooked. This is not merely trying harder. This is a fundamental rewiring of your perception, forced upon you by the elimination of all other options. This is the resourcefulness of the cornered animal, the creativity of the inventor who has spent their last dollar. It is a state of clarity that can only be achieved when the comforting fog of a backup plan is stripped away. The safety net, for all its promised comfort, is a weight that prevents you from learning you can fly. It is only in the freefall of total commitment, with the ground rushing up to meet you, that you discover the wings you never knew you had. The genius was always there, latent within you, but it required the intense pressure of no alternative to crystallize it into being. Your Plan A is not a hobby. It is not a side project or a pleasant diversion. It is the essential, non-negotiable expression of your deepest self. It is the song your soul was meant to sing, the mountain your spirit was born to climb. But this truth is fragile. It exists not as a solid, immutable object, but as a delicate potential, a blueprint that requires the constant, unwavering energy of your belief to materialize into reality. A dream is a living thing, and its primary sustenance is faith. It thrives on certainty and withers under the shadow of doubt. Every moment you spend nurturing a Plan B, you are actively casting that shadow. You are withholding the vital nutrient of your full conviction, and in doing so, you are starving your highest potential. This dynamic operates on a level deeper than conscious thought. It is a subtle energy exchange. When you speak of your dream but keep your old business cards, the world perceives the hesitation in your voice. When you pour your passion into a new venture but leave a standing offer with a previous employer, the universe responds to the reservation in your commitment. You are broadcasting a mixed signal, a powerful transmission of desire, corrupted by the static of a contingency plan. This static creates interference. It repels the collaborators, the opportunities, the synchronicities that align only with a pure and singular frequency. People and resources are drawn to unwavering conviction. They are hesitant to invest in an experiment. Your Plan B functions as an alternative soundtrack to your life. It is a quieter, more cautious melody that plays just beneath the soaring symphony of your ambition. At first, it seems harmless, a mere whisper of prudence, but its purpose is to be a substitute, a ready-made alternative to be switched to when the main composition becomes too complex or demanding. And the more you listen to this backup track, the more familiar and comforting it becomes. The grand symphony of Plan A requires your full participation. It demands that you feel every note of joy and every dissonant chord of struggle. The backup track asks nothing of you. It is predictable, safe, and undemanding. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to lower the volume on your masterpiece to better hear the soothing hum of your mediocrity. The vibrant colors of your vision start to fade, replaced by the grayscale of a life that was always meant to be a placeholder. You are not betrayed by a sudden catastrophe. You are slowly seduced by the quiet, convenient out you built for yourself. The dream doesn't shatter. It simply fades away, starved of the one thing it needed to survive, your whole, unadulterated, and reckless belief. The ultimate aim is not a blind, foolish recklessness. It is not about throwing caution to the wind in a fit of passion. The true goal, the most profound and challenging state to achieve, is a state of psychological wholeness. It is the complete integration of your will, your resources, and your identity toward a single, defining purpose. A divided focus is a weakened force. A scattered army, no matter how talented its individual soldiers, cannot win a war. When you maintain a Plan B, you are that scattered army. Part of your strength is here, fighting for the future you claim to want, while another, significant part is garrisoned far away, protecting a past you claim to have left behind. This internal civil war is the greatest drain on your potential. To be integrated is to end that war. It is to call all your troops back from that distant garrison, to concentrate your entire force on the single front that truly matters, the advancement of your vision. This process of integration is an act of profound self-trust. It is the decision to believe, not just in your idea, but in your own capacity to navigate the unforeseen challenges that will inevitably arise. It is the understanding that the most valuable resource you possess is not a financial cushion or a fallback job. It is your own adaptability, your resilience, and your creativity. By burning the boats, you are not destroying your security. You are transferring it from an external, fragile structure to an internal, unshakable capacity. Your security becomes your ability to figure things out. Your safety net becomes your own competence and your unwavering belief that you can learn, adapt, and overcome. This is a far more powerful form of security because it cannot be taken from you by external circumstances. This is the final and most important construction project, the building of your conviction. Every brick of attention, every ounce of faith, every moment of focused energy is a brick in the foundation of your future. To withhold any of these materials is to build on shaky ground. The magnificent fortress of your dreams, the life of purpose and fulfillment, requires every single resource you have. It demands your full investment. When you finally stop the leak of energy into your escape routes, you will feel a sudden, massive surge of power available to you. All the mental real estate once occupied by "what if I fail" is now free to design how I will succeed. All the emotional energy once spent maintaining a safety net is now channeled into building a launching pad. The goal is not to have no fear, but to have a commitment so much larger than your fear that it becomes the dominant force in your life. It is to point your entire being, past, present, and future, in one direction, and to begin the slow, steady, and unstoppable work of building what you were always meant to build.